Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine feeling like you're just drowning in information, right? Constantly playing catch up, maybe prepping for something big, and just wishing there was a shortcut, to really get what matters most.
Yeah, that feeling of wanting to be properly informed, quickie, deeply, but without, getting totally overwhelmed.
Exactly. And that's the challenge we're really digging into for you today in this deep dive.
It's something so many of us face. I mean, we're swimming in data, but getting real insight, especially insight that lines up with your goals, that's tough. This innovation we're looking at, it tackles that head on.
Absolutely. We're exploring this honestly fascinating system. It's designed to cut through all that noise, giving you insights like precisely when you need them. We'll kick off with how it works personally through these Unrobocall sessions.
Right. And then we'll pivot to the tech underneath it all, the
Yeah.
Fractal Identity Map or FI,
Yeah.
and we'll see how its architecture isn't just about, personal clarity, but actually helps tame some really big, complex problems in AI itself.
So, yeah, what does this all mean for you? Let's find out. Okay, so these unrobocall sessions, the idea seems to hang on these things called associative prompt recipes. Can you maybe unpack how these are different from just like standard questions?
Well, the key thing here isn't just getting answers back. It's about the shift that happens when AI can actually ask you the exact question.
Yeah.
The one that hits a blind spot pushes you from just reacting to, well, really leading your own thinking.
Okay.
So these prompts, they're AI-crafted, totally personalized questions designed to make you reflect, see those blind spots, and get your work lined up with your mission. It's about getting the right question, right time to boost your view.
We saw this with Dr. Bonito Fernandez, right?
Yeah.
His first session, it seemed like they really hit a kind of gold standard for making it personal. Instead of just dry business stuff, the prompts used metaphors from his life, soccer, dominoes, sailing. Why was that so effective?
It's powerful because those familiar contexts, they made abstract ideas suddenly relatable, engaging even. For instance, questions about aligning with his mission, framed like being a soccer striker, deciding the perfect moment for a shot. It just clicked for him instantly.
Made it intuitive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Resonant.
And it wasn't just feeling good, right? The 0 to 9 scale gave actual concrete feedback. He scored mission alignment a 3, team scalability a 7, process efficiency a 9. That's like, boom, instant diagnostic.
Precisely. Yeah, it highlights where to focus, what's working, and the session itself, it gave him that crucial moment to just, offload thinking, brainstorm a bit.
Right.
And that sparked connections. He mentioned his work with the Austin Venezuelan Association, even thought about a possible link up with a mental health startup, Quimby. It really showed how tailoring those prompts to his passions worked.
Okay, but then on the flip side, we got Robert. And his feedback was, let's say direct, crucial, maybe. His reaction was literally, dude, your questions are really complicated the way they're worded. That's
Yeah.
pretty blunt.
Oh, yeah. And invaluable feedback. It highlights a huge barrier, right? The jargon issue.
The flywheel thing.
Exactly. Asking what's a flywheel? I mean, it just killed the engagement right there. Confusion shows that even smart prompts can totally miss if the language isn't, well, human.
Yeah, accessible.
Yeah.
And the power of just keeping it simple really came through. When the interviewers switch gears, ask direct things like, can you come up with a goal you want to improve? Bam. Better answer straight away.
Much better. And interestingly, he shifted from business to personal. Said, let's say relationship, then maybe go on some dates. That's a massive change from where he started.
Huge shift.
And it brings up another key point, his skepticism about ROI, return on investment. He said, I would have to link this call to that outcome, right?
Good point.
Yeah, it really hammers home that you need to show verifiable value. Clear links between the insight and the actual result. Feeling good isn't quite enough. You got to see the impact.
So Robert's feedback really drove home the need for like natural spoken first language, making it feel like a real chat. But how on earth do you scale that? That super personalized approach seems like a massive job.
That's the big ambitious goal now. Automate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right now, it's this like 16-step manual process. Takes 4 to 6 hours for one session.
Wow.
The target. Get that down to just 3 manual steps, 1 hour per session, without losing that personal feel.
Okay, that's a huge leap. Not just flipping a switch, I guess.
Definitely not. It's phased.
Yeah.
Stage 1 is profile intelligence plus recipe personalization.
Yeah.
Basically grabbing data, LinkedIn posts, interests, how you like to communicate.
By building the picture.
Then comes call automation plus content pipeline. And finally, the learning engine plus recipe evolution. So it keeps getting smarter and refining itself.
And here's where it gets really interesting, right? That connection you mentioned. The struggle to align your own priorities, sift through all the thoughts in your head. That's basically the same massive combinatorial explosion problem that AI alignment faces, like a mini version of the big AI challenge.
Absolutely. Think about it. All the different paths a single thought could take, or the countless ways a system could interpret a simple goal. It's
Yeah.
the same fundamental issue. Trying to align personal priorities faces that same combinatorial explosion as aligning huge AI systems. And that's the complex, not the fractal identity map, FIM, is built to untangle.
Okay, so FUMM. How does a system go from crafting these really personal coaching prompts for one person to tackling these massive foundational problems in huge AI systems? They sound like worlds apart.
It sounds like it, but the link is this revolutionary way of structuring information,
Mhm.
understanding it, which brings us to the whole black box AI problem,
Oh, yeah, the black box.
right? Many advanced AIs, they just
Yeah.
operate like that, their inner workings. So complex, even the people who built them can't fully trace why they produce a certain output.
It's like that analogy trying to fix a car engine, but the hood's welded shut. You just can't see what's going on inside.
Exactly. And that leads straight into this AI alignment trap as these AI systems get more powerful.
They get less transparent.
Less transparent, yeah,
Yeah.
which means less trust. And ultimately, that creates significant strategic risk. The sheer number, I mean, the explosion of possible interactions inside a big AI model makes explaining its reasoning almost impossible, even with good tools. That's the combinatorial explosion causing chaos.
So this is where FEM steps in. The architecture that explains itself, the core idea being FEM is interpretable by design. Like the structure is the explanation.
That's the fundamental shift, yes.
Mhm.
It acts like a self-legending semantic map. It takes all that ambiguity and transforms it into clarity you can actually audit. Actionable clarity.
Okay, how does that work in practice? How does it create that clarity?
It's about anchoring trust right into the system's bones. So imagine every single piece of information could be notes from a meeting, a client email, even a specific worry like data security. It gets a unique hierarchical address, a semantic address.
Like a GPS coordinate, but for meaning.
Sort of, yeah. Think like deal.phase2.objections, security.data residency. That location, that address, it directly encodes its meaning and context within the whole system.
Got it. So it's not just a label, it's its place in the bigger structure. And because of that structure, anything nested underneath automatically inherits the context from above.
Precisely. Each extra level in the address, each prefix, just refines the identity, adds more specific meaning, but without losing that broader context from the higher levels.
Okay, makes sense.
And this is where the self-similar or fractal nature comes in, fractals, patterns that repeat at different scales.
Yeah, like zoom in and you see the same basic shape.
That's FEM. The way it's organized repeats recursively at multiple scales, so there's consistency right across the whole map. Zoom into a small part, it looks structurally similar to the whole thing.
And it uses semantic weights. These are numbers showing how important something is.
Yep, numeric values assigned to these identities shows their significance, their relevance, and those weights are what primarily drive how the hierarchy gets organized. It's not just where it is, but how much it matters in that spot.
Okay. And then there's this threshold-based drift idea. This sounds important.
It's crucial. What it means is things only get reclassified, their meaning or position only shifts if the change in those semantic weights crosses a certain preset threshold, a significance threshold.
So it avoids things just gradually, subtly changing meaning over time without anyone noticing.
Exactly. It prevents that slow, opaque drift you might get elsewhere, like in continuous vector embeddings. With FIM, any change in identity is a distinct, traceable event. You know when it happened, why it happened, because the threshold was crossed. It's auditable.
Right, discrete changes, not just mush. And this leads to efficiency, too, through skip logic, bypassing irrelevant stuff.
Massively efficient.
Right.
Yeah, skip logic is this deterministic way the system can just ignore whole branches, whole submatrices that aren't relevant to the current query or task.
So instead of searching everywhere,
It dramatically prunes the search space.
Yeah.
Imagine that huge maze again. Skip logic is like having the perfect map and compass, instantly showing the direct route, ignoring all the dead ends. It leads to exponential search efficiency. This is how it directly tackles that combinatorial explosion we keep mentioning.
wow, okay.
The result is this kind of semantic topography, almost like brain maps, where dimensions are organized symmetrically. Think of the visual cortex, how it's mapped out.
So it finds the right spot incredibly quickly, almost like that Master Chef analogy, knowing exactly when to add each ingredient.
Yeah, or like the master drummer knowing exactly when to hit each beat for maximum impact. Fang brings that kind of precision and rhythm to organizing information, ensuring insights pop up at just the right moment. It's about intentional design.
Moving from guessing to actually knowing.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've gone through the mechanics, which are fascinating. But let's talk impact. How does this FAM architecture translate into real-world value? Why does this matter directly to you, the listener?
Well, for businesses, one huge area is AI governance. FEMA offers a really practical, robust solution here. It creates a comprehensive AI risk management framework.
Because it's self-explaining. You can track everything.
Precisely. That structured, self-explaining nature, it provides a concrete audit trail for every single AI decision.
Yeah.
And that's critical for things like regulatory compliance, think the EU AI Act. Having that audit trail can help businesses avoid potentially massive, like nine-figure fines.
Okay, so it turns those black box risks into something manageable, transparent, something you can actually stand behind.
Right. Which leads to maybe the most revolutionary idea here, insurable AI.
Insurable AI, what does that mean?
Right now, trying to insure against AI messing up, it's really hard. It's a tiny market. Insurers often just put blanket exclusions on AI risk, or they charge insane premiums. Why? Because they can't price the risk of a black box. They don't know how likely it is to fail or why.
So they just avoid it or make it prohibitively expensive?
Exactly. But FAM changes the game entirely. Its profound solution is that it transforms that unquantifiable AI competence risk into something quantifiable, an insurable asset.
Whoa. Okay, unpack that. How does it become quantifiable?
Because FEM provides that verifiable audit trail, that structural explanation. You can measure its reliability, its alignment, its decision-making process
Yeah.
in a way you simply couldn't before. So for the first time, AI's competence isn't just understandable, it's financially accountable. FAM essentially creates the language to put a price tag on AI competence.
That unlocks a whole new market then, where trust itself can be traded.
Potentially, yes. They make this powerful comparison to the Black-Scholes model in finance. Black-Scholes gave finance a computable language for risk volatility, which enabled the whole derivatives market.
Right.
FIM, they argue, creates a computable language for competence, for verifiable alignment.
That's a big claim. What are the implications?
Huge implications.
Yeah.
It could enable totally new financial instruments. Imagine AI competence bonds where the payout, the yield, is linked to an AI staying above a certain accuracy level, or compliance-linked notes tied to an AI operating strictly within regulations.
So AI itself becomes like a tradable security?
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
Liquid, tradable, capable of attracting huge pools of global capital. And it massively de-risks insurance, because now you can have parametric insurance for AI insurance that pays out automatically if a pre-agreed measurable event occurs, like the AI's FIM score dropping below a certain threshold.
Okay, that is revolutionary. Beyond finance, can FIM help tame other complex issues, like those really messy public debates? You mentioned the AI doom discussion.
Yeah, the whole debate around AI existential risk. It's often chaotic, emotionally charged. FEMIN can bring structure to that. It uses this doom train analogy.
The doom train.
Yeah, the idea that the path to potential AI doom isn't necessarily inevitable. There are many potential breaks or off-ramps. Things like economic limits, governance stepping in, maybe the pace of AI progress slowing, or even fundamental questions about what intelligence really is.
Okay, so potential stopping points.
Right. FIMIN can organize that whole complex argument into a clear, visual causal map. It explicitly models the logical links, like if this break fails, then the probability of this next step increases. It can even handle probabilities.
So you can calculate P-doom based on whether these breaks hold.
Kind of, yeah. And critically, it shows how FEM itself can address some of those failure points directly by making AI safety and alignment something measurable, auditable, and even insurable, giving economic incentives for safety.
Fascinating. Bringing structure to chaos. What about more everyday stuff, like, say, medicine? How would FEMIN help a doctor?
Good example. Let's say a doctor queries for something like common respiratory conditions in kids who have intermittent coughing. FIM can systematically break that query down across the relevant dimensions stored in its map. Diagnostic categories, patient demographics, symptoms.
And find the intersection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It rapidly pinpoints the precise intersectional semantic spatial submatrix, basically. The specific corner of the information map where all those criteria meet to pull out the most relevant diagnoses. It jumps right there by following those semantic address prefixes way faster than just searching a huge flat database.
Okay. Or predictive modeling, like setting insurance premium.
Yeah, an applicant's identity, their age,
Right.
smoker status, BMI, whatever, gets anchored at a specific coordinate in the FIM structure. This provides a clear, bounded explanation for any prediction, like their premium,
Bound.
meaning the prediction is tied directly to those specific coordinates, those factors.
Right.
And the premium will only change if there's a discrete reclassification event like they stop smoking, and that change in semantic weight crosses the significance threshold. So future predictions are totally auditable. You can always trace back exactly why the premium is what it is or why it changed.
No more computer says no without an explanation.
Precisely.
So, pulling it all together, the core value here seems to be that FIM isn't just a slightly better way to organize data. It's a fundamental shift. It turns ambiguity into auditable, actionable clarity, a living map of your strategic landscape.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it forces every assumption out into the open, lets you see exactly where your arguments might be weak or where your uncertainty is highest. It's about building systems, whether personal workflows or massive AIs, with genuine structural integrity, building trust from the ground up.
So, what have we really learned in this deep dive today? We started off looking at your personal search, that quest for timely, relevant insights in this flood of information, and how things like Unrobocall aim to deliver that kind of precision.
And then we took that deep dive into the architecture underneath, the Fractal Identity Map, FAM, which, as we've seen, holds this promise to completely revolutionize how we organize, understand, and crucially trust even the most complex AI systems out there. It offers a path from the black box to genuinely verifiable competence.
Yeah, this journey shows that competence, whether it's your own or an AI's, doesn't have to be this mysterious black box. It actually can be mapped, it can be measured, and maybe most surprisingly, it can even be insured.
Right. The ultimate value proposition of FAM might not just be making AI explainable, but making it insurable, creating potentially huge new markets where trust itself finally has a quantifiable price, a tangible value.
The future doesn't have to be a black box. It could be an architecture that explains itself. So the question for you to think about is, what challenges in your world, big or small, could be transformed if you had a map that explained itself? Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we crack open your stack of articles, research notes, whatever you've got, and really distill the most potent insights. We're basically here to give you that shortcut to being truly well-informed, maybe with a few surprises along the way. Today, we're diving headfirst into, well, a fascinating intersection: artificial intelligence, personalized interaction, and the very concept of trust. You know that feeling when you're just drowning in information or trying to make sense of some complex system that feels like a complete black box? Well, our mission today in this deep dive is to unpack how some really cutting-edge AI stuff is designed to bring profound clarity and auditable transparency to exactly those kinds of challenges.
Yeah, it's actually quite remarkable, isn't it? How two seemingly, pretty different applications of AI. One's focused on highly personalized human coaching. The other's about making these huge AI systems explainable, trustworthy, right down at the foundations. How both of them really converge on this core idea that clarity and solid structure are just paramount. We're looking at systems engineered not just to spit out answers, but to help you really understand why those answers are given and how they fit into the bigger picture.
That's a great way to put it. Our sources today, they reveal this vision of AI that goes way beyond just performance, right? It's pushing into these new areas: explainability, trust, creating what some are actually calling insurable competence in AI.
Insurable competence, I like that.
Yeah. Think of it like AI you can genuinely, bank on. We'll start by exploring an AI coaching system that learns you, like really learns you, your way of thinking, the metaphors you use. And then we'll jump into a pretty groundbreaking new AI architecture. It's designed to make even the most complex AI transparent just by how it's built. So, okay, what does all this mean for you, navigating a world that's increasingly shaped by algorithms? Let's find out. Right, let's kick things off with something I found really innovative. Imagine an AI, but it acts as your personalized strategic coach, like a guide to help you brainstorm, reflect, pull you out of the day-to-day grind, get you thinking bigger picture. That's the core idea behind this Unrobocall system from Theta Driven Coach.
And this raises a really important question. How do you make AI coaching genuinely personal? and, effective. I mean, human coaching usually involves a massive time commitment. You're talking like 16 manual steps, maybe 4 to 6 hours for just one session.
Yeah.
The Unrobocall system, it just dramatically streamlines that whole process. Boils it down to, I think, just 3 manual steps in about an hour. But this efficiency, it isn't just about speed. It's deeply rooted in personalization.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, and our sources give us a fantastic look at this actually working with real session examples. There's one with Dr. Bonito Fernandez. He's the CTO of the Whisper Company. The system didn't just ask him, like, generic coaching questions. It actually tapped into his passions: soccer, dominoes, sailing, and used those to craft prompts that would really resonate with him. For instance, it asked him to picture his work like a championship dominoes table, or himself as a striker in soccer.
See, the brilliance there is how those personal metaphors, they didn't just engage him more. They unlocked really clear, actionable insights. He was apparently able to immediately score his mission alignment a 3 and his process efficiency a 9 on a 0 to 9 scale.
Right, concrete number.
Exactly. And offered real paths forward. It even sparked this organic connection. Bonito apparently suggested a potential collaboration with a mental health startup called Quimby, just like that.
Wow.
That's the kind of, unexpected value a real coach, human or otherwise, can provide.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing right off the bat, which honestly is often where the best learning comes from, right?
Always.
Another session, this one with a user named Robert, gave some pretty direct feedback. He said, your questions are really complicated the way they're worded. Yeah, he specifically struggled with jargon, the term flywheel, for example.
And that's just a critical lesson for anyone designing AI, isn't it? Simplicity. It